Hi Homeworthy, I'm Sarah Fennel. I'm the founder of Broma Bakery and author of Sweet Tooth. Welcome to my Brooklyn home. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, my name is Sarah Fennel. I'm the founder of Broma Bakery and welcome to my home in Brooklyn. Today I'm going to show you around my kitchen and dining space. We're going to do a little baking and then we're going to set the table. I moved into this house just a few months ago, so I very much knew that coming into my home, I wanted it to feel like a place where people could feel really comfortable, where there was a lot of light, where there was room for entertaining, and that's a really hard thing to find in New York City. So throughout the process of looking for a house, I was really centering my search around the kitchen. Not only is the kitchen so important for my job, but I also feel like the kitchen really is the heart of the home, and I wanted a kitchen that felt like it would be good for entertaining, but like it was also just a place where we could be lounging around, you know, cooking breakfast or cooking dinner together on a Tuesday night. So finding a good kitchen was like the #1 thing on my wish list in finding an apartment. I was searching every day on multiple sites looking for a house for like months on end. And I stumbled upon this house and I saw the kitchen and I knew immediately that it was perfect for my needs. So it had all of the space to be able to entertain like I like. It also has so much storage, which is really tough to find in a lot of places that are rentals. And it just had this really welcoming, open feeling that I was instantly drawn to. I think too, for me, finding a kitchen that has a lot of light and that kind of bridges the indoors and the outdoors is just like one of the most beautiful things in a home. And I absolutely love that we have these floor to ceiling windows that also open out onto this back terrace. So it really just makes you feel like during the summer that you can have this like indoor outdoor situation. You feel like you're in nature, but you're also cooking in your lovely kitchen, and it's just really nice and homey. In terms of decorating the space, something that I really wanted to pay attention to is blending old and new. That's kind of how I like to decorate in general, but especially because so many of the bones of the kitchen have that really old original detail. There's beautiful molding, just really nice woodwork all around. And then you contrast that with this more modern kitchen. I felt like the space was a perfect canvas for sort of that dichotomy that I wanted to create with the design, which is this blend of old and new. So a lot of the pieces are from secondhand stores or vintage shops, but then I also have a few pieces that are from places like CB2, Restoration Hardware. So that's something I really like to do when I'm designing, find some pieces that are available at major retailers that can kind of ground the space, but then really take the more decorative aspects and have those be unique or vintage or things that, you know, you can add your own personal touch to. Welcome to the heart of the home, to my kitchen. I'm so excited. As you can see, we're going to be doing a little baking later, but just a little preview, it's gonna be absolutely delicious. But this is my kitchen. Again, this space is a rental, and one thing that I was so excited about is the fact that despite its rental, that it has so much storage. So all of this is storage space, which is so good for somebody like me who has so many pots and pans. But I absolutely love that we just have like ample space for everything. Another thing that I absolutely love about this space is the fact that it has a double oven. So this can be both a microwave, but an oven as well. And it's so, so nice for somebody like me who bakes all the time to be able to have two separate apparatuses for baking. It makes it so you can have cookies going at one temperature, cake going at another temperature, whatever you need. It's so, so helpful. So if you're designing your home or designing your kitchen in the next few years and you're a big baker, highly, highly recommend a double oven. I love limes. I'm a huge lime fan. And I hope if you're watching this, you understand that reference. These bowls are vintage. They're from a vintage shop that I absolutely love following online. It's called The Prolific Home. They have such good little small housewares. So that's from there. Oh my God, what's that? Is that my book? That is my book, Sweet Tooth. But just in general, I love using books as display pieces, whether they're like propped up like this or down like this. I also have it on the other side over here. I think books just bring in such a nice sense of coziness to a space. So I love bringing books in everywhere. My husband says that I have an addiction to coffee table books, and he's not wrong about that. This is my super, super heavy booze block cutting board. Oh, here's the booze. Like Booze, Jonathan Booze is the name. And I absolutely love this piece because it really, like, it feels like a piece of furniture. Like, it's so heavy, it's so well made, and I just love sort of the organicness and warmth that it adds. These are vanilla bean blackberry scones. They're from the brunch chapter of Sweet Tooth. And then this is a zebra bunt cake, which when you cut into it, it has these chocolate and vanilla stripes. I'm so excited to show you guys. I also am obsessed with this edibles jar. We won't open it because who knows what could be in there. But this is from Jonathan Adler. I think they have such fun and just like graphic pieces that you can add all over your home. Another thing that I was immediately drawn to in this space was the countertop. I don't know exactly what kind of marble it is, but I love that it has these notes of sort of like green and beige all throughout. It just adds this little subtle warmth that breaks up the black and white really nicely. And I also would have never thought about this. Again, I didn't design this space, but it's something that I will be bringing to whatever kitchen I do design next. And it's having this little recessed area right here that falls into the sink. It's so nice to be able to use this as almost like a drying rack for dishes and be able to just wipe up any liquids or mess or stain into the sink. So highly recommend something similar to that. This is one of my favorite pieces in this space. This was actually made by one of my employees, Sophie, and she made this for me for my birthday. So she actually carved this out and printed it herself. Cheetos are my guilty pleasure. I love Cheetos so much. I have a bag of Cheetos with me all the time, whether I'm on a road trip or on vacation or literally just at my house. I always want my Cheetos. So I love that I have this little vignette to Cheetos here. This is a piece I actually just got from the Poster Club. So the Poster Club is a super affordable prints website online. I think they ship from Europe, but what's so nice is you can get the actual print any size, and then they'll do the matting and they'll do the framing for you. This piece, I think it's 30 by 50 centimeters, and this was like $170 to have it framed and matted. So really affordable and really, really fun prints from them. And this in particular is a little ode to our black cat who passed last year, but we just like saw it and immediately were drawn to it because it reminded us of our old black cat. And I just think it's so cute and fun. Like I said earlier, one of my favorite parts about this space is sort of the indoor-outdoor moment. I do have a cat, so this one I don't open all the way because there's not a screen, but this is an actual door that opens out, which is just so, so special. So this one over here has a screen, and in the summer, we've just been keeping this open at all times, and it's so nice because you can like hear a little bit of the city sounds, but you also have this protection from the outside for the animals. So when we were first looking, we were looking in Manhattan, and we were looking at all of these apartments. And then we looked at a townhouse in Brooklyn, and I literally stood in the kitchen and I said to myself, oh my God, like I can envision myself here baking, being able to let the dog outside, having her like lounge and being able to see her and not having to go down this hallway and down an elevator. And like that was the moment that I knew that this was the place, because I could just like literally envision our daily life here. And you absolutely have to see her lounging. It is like, look at that little thing. Is that not the sweetest? Another thing that I absolutely love about this space is the fact that the kitchen and the dining room are together in one space. I absolutely love being able to cook and to entertain, but to also be watching my friends and my family enjoy themselves at the table, be eating maybe one part of a course while I'm preparing another. I just love having those two elements happen in the same space. I think it's so nice. I also think being able to be cooking while people are enjoying themselves and not have that kitchen separated is just a way to create this really casual and welcoming atmosphere. So I absolutely love that about this space. Moving on over, this is the dining space. So there was a few challenges in this space. So one was that it is relatively narrow, so we wanted to make sure that we could have space for people to walk around and sort of have pathways, especially because we have this door outside. I just wanted there to be like direct streamlined access to outside. So these chairs I think are absolutely perfect. This table is from Restoration Hardware and the chairs are from Stowed Home, but they fit perfectly. So it's so nice to be able to tuck those in and have this really like tight, streamlined area. I will say, like, I definitely prefer going vintage or secondhand for big sort of wooden pieces, but I will say I think Restoration Hardware does a phenomenal job with their wooden pieces, and I'm so pleased with just the quality of this table. Over here, another challenge was sort of figuring out how we could add a little bit of storage, but not have it be really like heavy and big. And I'm so pleased with this. This is also from Restoration Hardware, but I was really happy I got it on sale, so it felt like a little bit of a win. But I love burlwood. I think it's such a fun blend of like 70s, but also like there's this like modern element to it with it just being glossy, and I just love it. So this is really great and perfect for any sort of storage. Half of it we have bar stuff like cocktail glasses and liquors, and then half of it we have serveware, which is really nice to be able to have both and be able to pull out. So like when we'll have people over, we'll pull out some of the liquors and this will become like this whole bar situation, which is really nice. Here, this is a really fun moment. A lot of the more like fun and vibrant pieces that I have in this space are from a shop called Big Night. They are both in the West Village and they are also in Greenpoint, but you can also get them online. But I absolutely love their stuff. So all of this, including the tray, is from Big Night. They have some really beautiful vintage glassware if you're able to go in person. So these are just vintage glasses, but I loved pairing them and creating this sort of like mixed metal moment. I just think it's like this fun, little bit like chic vibe inside this contained space, which I think is really nice. And in general, I think something that I really like to do with design is create little vignettes. So like we have this little vignette here, this little vignette there. So I'm always trying to think about ways that I can layer things or like keep things within a space to just make them look really put together and refined. This piece is actually a piece that I made, and I made it back in Boston. And when we moved into this space, I thought, wait a second, I think this will look perfect in the kitchen because it really helps to bookend this space with black. So we have the really black cabinets over there. And then this kind of like balances out that black on this side, which I think looks really nice. But this is literally a canvas that I got from Blick Art Store. And then I got like wall spackle plaster, and I took like a spackling thing and I kind of just like all over. And then I took even more spackle and I kind of like built it up into these little like ridges around the edges, which I think just adds some really nice texture to the piece. And then I just painted it black. So I think it works really nicely in the space. And I also really like the idea of like having your own art in a space, that it just adds this really nice personal touch. Then fun fact, this is actually from Amazon. Amazon has some really fun decor pieces that like don't look like they're from Amazon, but I think this was like $45 or something. And I just think it's really fun and chic, and it has, you know, a little like Roman moment. This is another piece I absolutely love. It is a vessel from Bode, which is another vintage shop I absolutely love. She does a lot of larger scale furniture pieces, but she's recently been doing more smaller pieces, and I think this is just so beautiful. I love the texture. I love that there's a little like terracotta moment in there. I think it's so chic. The last piece that is really special in this space is this giant floor vase. This was actually something I found from Facebook Marketplace, and it was really like gaudy and blue and green, but I loved the shape of it. And it was only $45, which for a vase of this size is like absolutely amazing. So I got it from this lady on Facebook Marketplace. She was lovely. And I brought it back home, and then I mixed together some sand and dirt from outside my house with some paint and painted it on. So it has this like little bit of texture that I think makes it look more vintage than it is. But I just absolutely love how it turned out. And then put pampas grass in the top, because who doesn't love pampas grass? We're on the edge of the kitchen and dining room, so I might as well tell you about this piece, but this is such a special piece. When I was living in Boston, I had a friend who was staying with me. We went to a yoga class, and on the way back from the yoga class, we drove past this pawn shop, and she noticed this in the window, and she was like, oh my God, I have to get it. So we go into the pawn shop, and the guy had it up for like $2,000, and we thought that was ridiculous. Like, it was just way too much for the shop that it was in. And so she texted her husband, and she sent a photo, and her husband was like, I don't like it. And I was like, oh my God, this is my moment. Like, I like it, I should take it. And so I asked her if it was okay if I bought it, and she said, yeah, I mean, he doesn't like it, I'm not gonna take it home with me. So I bought it, and I was able to negotiate it down to $750, which I was thrilled with. And I just think it's such a beautiful piece. I mean, the frame alone is just absolutely stunning. It has such beautiful detail in it. But I also just love the tones of the image itself. The like sort of beigey green with the blue and the black. I think it's so beautiful, and it's just a really special piece. So that is the gist of the kitchen and dining area, but now we're gonna move on to the food, which is my favorite part. So I'm gonna go over there and get some things ready to bake some really delicious recipes for you guys. And then after that, we're gonna set the table, and we're gonna have a little brunch celebration moment. Okay, I'll see you in a second. I founded Broma Bakery 14 years ago. I was a college student in my dorm room, and I literally came back from a night out. I still had my Halloween costume on from the night before because it was Halloween weekend. And I decided to create a blog. And I had a camera that I had from high school because I really liked photography. And I basically photographed a coconut cake. And I put it onto this blog that was on, I think it was on Blogspot, which was like a huge thing back then. And I started this blog, and I called it Broma Bakery. And it was just completely a hobby for me. It was never something that I thought that I would do for my career, but I kept it up all throughout college really as this way to have this creative outlet. And then after college, I was working in the restaurant industry. I was feeling so burnt out, and I just knew that I wanted to be in the food space, but that I couldn't keep working in restaurants. And I got to this point at the job that I was working at where I literally quit, and I went home and I Googled how to make money on a food blog because I saw all these people doing it, and I had no idea how to do it, but I knew that it was possible. I knew that it was like a thing, because really, like, up until that point, my blog was so much a hobby for me. I had never made a cent on it. It was just something I was doing really like creatively and for fun. But I gave myself 2 months to see if I could have any growth on this blog, and to see if I could gain traction, and to see if I had something that people were really interested in. Thankfully, and knock on wood, people were interested in it. And I mean, it's crazy that like almost 10 years to the day when I quit my job is when this first cookbook is coming out, which is just like insane to me that it's this like full circle moment of a decade's worth of work. I think this book is really special because it's approached the way that a lot of people naturally approach how they bake. You don't necessarily know if you want a cookie or a brownie, but you know that you want something in 30 minutes. Or you don't know if you want a 3-layer cake or a tart, but you know that you want something that you can bring to your friend's birthday dinner. So I love that the book is organized that way, and it just, I think, really calls on how emotional dessert is for so many people, and how dessert really plays this role of being something that adds joy to people's lives. So I'm really, really excited about it. Another really fun thing about this book is that pretty much all of the recipes you can do in 1 or 2, maybe 3 bowls, but no more. There's no lamination, there's no like crazy technique. Really, it's all things that the classic home baker can do in their kitchen and not feel like, oh my God, I don't have this, you know, pastry whisk to use, or I don't have this cutter that I need to specially make some sort of crimped edge or something. It's all really things that are accessible to the home baker. I feel like so many people love home baking, but they either make the cookies that they know, or they try some really fun but kind of scary dessert that might take them a whole half day. And this book is kind of all about the in-between. It's about making the really fun cookies. And yeah, we're gonna have a recipe for like an unbelievable espresso martini cake that's gonna take you a half day and is gonna be so worth every moment. But it's also about all of these desserts in between that are maybe things that you wouldn't necessarily think about on your own, but that fit so nicely into your daily life. Are you guys ready? We are going to make a bumbleberry tart. So this recipe comes from Sweet Tooth. This is from the brunch chapter. And this recipe is one of my favorite recipes in the book. So much so that you can already see I've stained the page a little bit, but like to me, that's the sign of a good recipe. So it's all good. So this tart is so much fun, but it's also so easy, which you'll see it takes maybe like 5 minutes to throw together. And it has way fewer ingredients than you'd even think. Just starting off over here, we have everything that's gonna be our actual berries. Fun fact, bumbleberry literally is a fancy way of saying mixed berry, but it sounds so much better. So here we have a bowl full of just mixed berry fruits. It's gonna be strawberries, blackberries, blueberries. There might be some raspberries in there. Whatever you have on hand is gonna be great. And then we have some other ingredients we're going to mix into there. And then over here is where we're gonna do our little tart making station. I feel like tarts seem like they're gonna be more fancy than they are, but we're basically gonna dump all this into a food processor, puree it up a little bit, and then that lovely mixture is going to both be the mixture for the bottom of our tart and the top of our tart. So that was something that was so important to me with this recipe, making sure that there's only 2 components, but you kind of get like 3 levels and layers of flavor. So let's get started. I will also say, wearing all white in the kitchen is something I unfortunately do far too often, but I refuse to put on an apron for this because it's Homeworthy and we gotta look cute while we're making a tart. So let's really hope that I don't get anything on my nice white shirt. Again, we have a food processor here. If you don't have a food processor, you can technically do this by hand. It's gonna take a little bit longer and it's just gonna be a little bit more messy because you're gonna be working those cubes of butter in. But what we have here in our tart is butter. We have a ½ cup of butter here. This is cold butter cut into cubes. We also have almond flour and some all-purpose flour, and then brown sugar and salt. So we're gonna start out by putting 1 cup of all-purpose flour into our food processor. And then from there, we are going to add 1 cup of almond flour. So this almond flour not only is gonna add this really nice depth of flavor, but it also adds so much nice texture to this tart. So it becomes a little bit softer, a little bit more moist. And it's like, it makes it so when you bite into the tart, it really melts into your mouth and it's the best. From there, we have 2/3 a cup of packed light brown sugar. I always use light brown sugar when baking opposed to like a dark brown sugar because I feel like this is the perfect amount of moisture and molasses flavor. Any darker and things can start to get a little bit chewy and wet, but this light brown sugar is like the perfect amount to give you a little bit of added warmth to the flavor of your tart and again, help with that really nice soft chew when you bite into it. Last 2 ingredients, we're almost there. We have a ½ of a cup, which is also 1 stick of cold butter. We're gonna put this right in. Okay, amazing. So basically I just pulse it until it comes together in this kind of wet sand way. So you can see here, It's started to clump. This is exactly what we're looking for. And now, if you're brave like me, oh, it doesn't have any eggs in it, so it doesn't even matter. We always have to taste as we go. Delicious, amazing. Oh my God. Oh my God, I love this tart so much. Oh, it's gonna be great. Now, we have to put all of our filling ingredients together. This is, again, so easy. We're just gonna dump everything into a single bowl. What we have here, 2 cups of bumbleberries, AKA mixed berries. To that, I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of light brown sugar. We are also going to add in 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. I really like adding in cornstarch to pies, tarts, anything with fruit filling, just because it helps make that filling a little bit jammier and keeps the liquid from being too thin and gross. And then we are going to add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Vanilla, I always think of as a flavoring agent, just like salt is. So anytime you add it to baking, it's just gonna enhance the flavor of whatever you pair it with. And then last, I like adding just a little bit of lemon zest to this. It adds such a nice brightness to the dish, and it just gives it that like pop that I really feel like takes it over the edge. So my love of baking definitely comes from my mom. She was very much a home baker, completely self-taught, and she had such a huge sweet tooth. So we would always have cookies or brownies or like coffee cake at our house at all times. Like if there wasn't a dessert in the house, like something was wrong. Like somebody was working too hard or like we were on vacation or something like that. But from that, I myself got a really big sweet tooth, and this idea of having dessert around all the time made it so dessert like truly became a part of our daily lives. And I think for me, that's why I love desserts that feel so uncomplicated. For me, I feel like dessert should really fit into your life and not the other way around. Okay, so we are now gonna take about 2/3 of this dough and we're just gonna put it into the bottom of the tart pan. And really, like, I kind of just crumble it and eyeball it. Like that feels about right. So you'll see I'm starting with these crumbles and I'm just kind of gonna break them up to get everything even around the edge. And I actually just want to sort of push things to the edge a little more, because once we have this all nice and even, I'm gonna add a little bit more. We are going to use anything that has a flat bottom. So like here I'm using a cup measure, and we're just going to pack that in this way. And what's so nice about using a cup measure is then you're able to take that cup measure and kind of push it up the sides and create this little side that feels nice and safe. I mean, I would say that baking is absolutely my love language. It is the way that I express love. It's the way that I just feel like I have been ever since childhood. And I think like dessert is just so fun in that way, because it's like, it's totally unnecessary, but you do it and you share it because it literally like brings love and joy to the people who are both making it and eating it, which is really fun. Once you have that tart nice and packed in there, that's when you can go ahead and put your filling in. So I'll just give this a quick little stir because it's already starting to macerate, like some of those juices are coming out. And then we will just put that into the bottom of our tart pan. And I might even add a few more berries because this is a little bit of a bigger tart. Yeah, let's do it. There's just one thing that I love about baking. I feel like people tend to think that baking is such a science, but you can eyeball a little bit. All right, and then last, we're just going to top this with the remainder of that tart dough. So what I do for this is I kind of take it in my hands and I crumble it a little bit. This is just gonna help it get into bigger crumble pieces, and then I just break it apart all over the dough. So this is nice because you don't want it to be too sandy on top. Like you kind of want these little crumble bits that you bite into. So just squeeze it in your hand and then break it apart. And what I like to do here, I mean, there's no like exact science to like how much tart dough goes on the bottom and on the top, but what I like to do is make sure that you can see some of those berries so that they stay poking out. It's just a really nice visual moment to be able to like see exactly what you're about to be eating. So we're gonna keep some of those berries on the outside there. Oh my God, I'm so excited. All right, then last, we're just gonna take a 1/4 cup of sliced almonds, and we are just going to sprinkle this on top. I think these create a really nice crunchy moment, and also because we had almond in that dough, it's also just going to help to bring out that almondy flavor. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I love it. We are going to put this tart into the oven, but here's a little pro tip for you guys. Because tart pans have removable bottoms, I have absolutely had those times when I've put a tart in the oven and then I've gone to pick it up and I forgot about the removable bottom, and then it broke in half and only half of the tart came with my hands. It's a mess, like we can't be having that. So pro tip is take that tart pan, put it onto a cookie sheet, and now you put this entire thing in the oven. You can easily get it in and out, no mess, no fuss. It's nearly foolproof. So this is going to go into a preheated 350 Fahrenheit oven for about 45 minutes. We're just looking for the crust to get nice and golden brown and for the berries to get nice and juicy and bubbly. While our tart is baking, I'm gonna show you guys one more part of the kitchen, which I didn't show you before, and it is like maybe my favorite part of the kitchen. It is this hidden closet. And again, I can't take credit for this genius engineering, but this closet is amazing. It's usually, I promise, it's usually more clean than this, but we had to get all our like hosting supplies ready for you guys. But like having this space right off the kitchen is an absolute dream. Some of the things that I like about it, this automatic light that goes on every time you open the door, so it's motion activated, and just the fact that it's recessed, so you have all of this storage that's both on one side and then through the back. We don't have actually a bathroom on the first floor down here. Instead, we have this closet and another closet, and honestly, I don't miss it. It's so, so nice to have this extra and added storage. So let's pick out a few things that we can set the table with. Starting with these cute bud vases. These are actually from Amazon. They come in a set of 12 and they're so perfect for just like little flower moments on a table. All right, so I'm gonna set these aside while I get a linen that we can begin our scene with. I will say, like, when I'm eating dinner on my own, I usually just use a placemat, but I think when you're doing a whole spread, a tablecloth just looks so, so good. Okay, so let's talk about this. This is actually literally a linen bed sheet, but you guys, this makes for the perfect tablecloth. So like, I'm somebody that never sleeps with a top sheet. I think top sheets are kind of silly and unnecessary. So I just end up with all of these extra sheets, and turns out a king size bed sheet, when folded over, makes for the most gorgeous linen tablecloth. So that's what we're using here. I feel like the way I set the table changes every time, but I feel like I'm usually like a plate, silverware, cup girl. So we're gonna go with silverware next. These I think are so fun and perfect for brunch. They're from Sabre, and I got these at Big Night. Honestly, almost all of my tableware is from Big Night. What I love about this silverware set is that it's like this combination of being everyday but elevated. So it feels like something that like you could eat on a random Tuesday, but you can also put it on a table like this, and it helps to like elevate the entire table. I would say in general, when I'm entertaining, I really want to make sure that my guests feel comfortable. I have been to so many dinner parties where the room just felt stiff and people didn't feel comfortable. They felt like it was a little too formal, and I never want people who come over to my house to feel that way. So part of creating that sense of warmth and comfortability is in creating this scene and this setting with items and objects that make people feel like it's just a fun, good time. Next up, glassware. So we're doing a brunch moment. So we need a little bit of like levity to this. It's the daytime, so we wanna stay a little bit casual. So I absolutely love these bubble glasses. They add a little bit of texture and they just keep everything really bright and fun. I think these are just the best. Not only do they look really good on a more daytime tablescape, but they can also look really nice on a dinner tablescape. And I love like the bubbly nature of it. It feels like, ooh, sensual, okay. And it's just such a great piece to have on hand. For linens for the tablescape, we are using linens again from Big Night because, I mean, if you haven't figured it out by now, again, it's where I shop for everything. So these are from Big Night. It's a company called Madre Linen. And I think that doing like a linen on linen moment is just so nice. So linen tablecloth and then linen on the actual plate itself. I feel like I rarely set a table where I put the linen on the side. I like the linen to be its own sort of centerpiece moment. So I usually will put it on my actual plate. So not only does my love of baking come from my mom, but I would say my love of hosting comes from her in kind of like a different way. Like she was not like somebody who would create this like beautiful, perfect, amazing tablescape. But what she always did was she always made people feel so comfortable. And when people came to our house, they really felt like they could let their guard down. They felt like they could talk about anything. And I think that that helped to instill in me that like hosting is so much about connection, and creating a beautiful tablescape, I think, is really enjoyable for myself. But my mom absolutely taught me that hosting is so much about how you make people feel. And I think I really try to bring that to the way that I host now as an adult. Something that I always like to keep in mind with centerpieces is you don't actually want a big centerpiece, because you're going to be, one, having food and drinks all around a table, and two, you want to make sure that you keep things low to the ground so that people can see each other over the centerpiece. So I always make sure that whenever I am putting anything in the center of my table, that I keep it low. So like, yes, we're good. I can see you. How funny would this be, you guys? And I can see you. These I'm also so excited about. I think they just add such a nice, like, I don't know, it's like a nostalgia almost. There's just this really cute handmade quality to these. I mean, do I even have to say it? I got it at Big Night. And I really love them. So even though this is a brunch scene, I just really like the idea of having a tiny little candle moment. Oh, I think that just looks so good. And I think too, like when I'm creating a tablescape, I really want to keep in mind color stories, right? So what we're going for here is this mixture between blues and like orangey pinks. So this is really nice because the blue here is matching with the blue here. And then we have this little like slight pinky moment here over here. We have this nice sort of orange glow here and here. So just always thinking about, as you're creating that tablescape, how you can tie everything together. And if you're going to include one color somewhere, try to pull it in another place on your table as well. I think this looks perfect. I don't want to go too overboard. That's another thing. Like when I'm hosting, I want it to feel pretty like minimal, because I want to put the food on the table and I want the food to really like be the thing that stands out. So I think we're good on our table for now. Speaking of food, let's go see if our tart is ready. Okay, tart's not ready, but that's okay because we got other things to do. So in addition to this tart, let me tell you guys what I prepared. We have these vanilla bean blackberry scones. These are my mom's favorite recipe in the book. She's absolutely obsessed with these. No joke, she probably makes them twice a month. So we are going to do a little glaze on there. I recommend glazing these when they first come out of the oven. Mine right now are room temperature, and that's totally fine. But I really like glazing things when they're still warm because it just helps the glaze to set really, really nicely. So a little pro tip for you there. And then I just have this vanilla bean glaze. It's a very simple glaze that we're gonna put on top, and it like takes them over the edge. It's so good. I always like using a big tablespoon to do glaze over because it just helps to create this like really nice sort of zhuzh moment. Oh, that looks so so perfect. And with glaze, like, never be afraid to sort of like move it where you want. Like if you want the drips to be over this way more, glaze is very forgiving in that way. But what I love about this glaze is that it's thin enough that as it melts, you can really start to see like those ridges and the blackberry through it. Zebra bun cake, you guys. It's time to cut into this. Oh my God, isn't that like so pretty? It's so pretty, I'm obsessed. All right. Oh my goodness. All right, moment of truth. Let's see. Oh my God. It's so perfect. Okay. It's so good. Fun little food styling tip here. The tart is still on its bottom here, so that removable tart pan, it's still on it. And I'm not gonna lift it up too much because it's really hot, but under it, we just have a bowl that I turned upside down. So let's see if I can handle this heat. So we literally just have this bowl that I turned upside down, and now it kind of looks like a cake stand. So it's a great way to have like a perfect tart on your table without buying an extra cake stand. Let's finish with powdered sugar. Tart is done, scones are ready, zebra cake is cut into. I think it's time to put all this on the table, revel in it a little bit, and then maybe bite into it. So let's go. I hope today has shown you guys that hosting does not have to be stressful with a few delicious recipes up your sleeve and maybe a bed sheet as a tablecloth. You too can have an amazing brunch spread for your friends and family. And for all the recipes you saw today, you can find them inside Sweet Tooth, which is available now at all major retailers. The word home to me means a few things. I think absolutely food is involved in home, and home is a place where you feel like you can come back and you can kind of create but also feel comfortable, and that's kind of like how I approach food in general. And I also think home is so the people who you are in your space with. I think that really being home is more of a feeling than anything. Having the people who you love being able to be under that roof with you, like that's home. It doesn't really matter where you are or what it looks like, except for you can definitely make it look really fun and pretty and exciting. All right, Homeworthy, thank you so much for coming and spending the day with me. I had so much fun showing you some of these recipes, creating an amazing tablescape, and of course, showing you around my house. But it's now time for me to eat all the things I prepared, so I gotta kick you guys out. So thank you so much, and until next time.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.